Hello, friends, and welcome back to our homestead. This is a tomato season, and I have these big, beautiful yellow tomatoes. I don't know the name of these variety tomatoes, but I can tell you they're super sweet and delicious, and they have this tiny pink, just like streaks on the bottom of them. So delicious. I don't know the name of them because I got the seeds from my friend Anna during our seed exchange that we did early in the season. A few of us, friends, gardeners, homesteaders got together and we exchanged seeds, and I named them Anna's yellow tomatoes because they came from Anna, but I really don't know the name of the variety. So sweet, so delicious. And I'm going to save these seeds for the following season because they're so good. We already shared these tomatoes with our friends and family, our neighbors. We've eaten so many of them and we continue to eat so many of them because fresh is where it's at. The best vitamins, the best minerals, the best nutrients is when you eat fresh, building up your immune system for the upcoming winter. But I also know that the cold winter is coming. And when you buy tomatoes in the winter, let's face it, it's not the same. There's no flavor, there's no nutrients, and science confirmed it that there are no nutrients in the store-bought tomatoes because they're lacking all the nutrients because they were developed, I should say, to look pretty on your grocery shelf, but not to bring nutrients to us. So therefore, we're going to preserve our own. I make tomato sauce and I use those small Roma tomatoes for sauce and for tomato paste and for ketchups. That's different. But these big ones are really good for eating fresh in salads, in sandwiches, but also we can preserve them by freeze drying them. And freeze dryer is a growing new thing that so many homesteaders and gardeners are looking to use to preserve their food because it preserves the most amount of nutrients besides freezing. But let's face it, my freezer space is tight. I don't have much freezer space left. So I need to make these tomatoes shelf stable. And the only way to do it is by freeze drying. So let me show you my method from start to finish. And I hope you guys also get encouraged to do the same thing. If you're interested where to buy a freeze dryer, I'm going to leave a link in my description box. Click on it. It will bring you straight to the website. It's called Harvest Right. It's an American company, very good customer service. They're very good at answering you right away and working with you. We really like this machine. We have a large capacity, but they have a small, medium, and large, and even extra large. So yeah, let me show you how we're going to preserve this beautiful, yellow, very sweet tomatoes. Okay, so these are the things I'm going to need. Obviously, the tomatoes, okay? And any tomatoes can work. And I'm going to use a cutting board with a sharp knife. And I need to season them. Now, seasoning is not that important, especially if you like things to be plain and then to be versatile later on once you rehydrate them. So we don't have to season them right now at all. But I'm going to season them because I want to turn them into a snack. Like I said, we already have tomatoes stored away in jars for sauce, for other things. But this is going to be more for snacking because these tomatoes are so sweet. So I'm going to be using a seasoning blend. This is from Trader Joe's. It's called Green Goddess Seasoning Blend. It has garlic. It has some herbs. It has salt, a little bit of black pepper. White pepper. So everything that I need, it's already here. But this should be to taste so we can change it up to our taste. And then I'm going to be using the trays. I'm going to put my tomatoes straight on these freeze dryer trays from Harvest Right, and they're going to go into the freeze dryer. So what I'm going to do, so I already washed all of my tomatoes. I need to make sure they're nice and clean. And if you choose, you can even leave them out on a towel to dry them up a little bit. So there'll be a little bit less moisture for the freeze dryer to remove eventually. But still, these tomatoes are so juicy that it's gonna need to remove lots and lots of moisture. So I'm going to cut out the portion because these are heirloom tomatoes, they're slightly imperfect. I'm going to cut the part that I don't want, and it's going to go to the chickens. But the rest of the things I'm going to cut in slices. How thick of a slices? Everyone does it differently. I'm going to cut about a centimeter slices, which is about, give or take, a little bit less than half an inch. Okay, something like that. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I choose not to use any kind of slicer because I find that because they are so ripe that they turn into mush. They don't cut very well. I have to use a sharp knife. Okay, so I'm just going to take off the tops because I don't really need them. And like I said, because they're heirloom, there's some imperfections. I'm just going to throw them into my chicken bucket. It's not a big deal. And now I'm going to cut them into slices. Like I said, about an inch deep. Okay, just like that. I'm going to try to use a sharp knife because I'm going to try not to squeeze them too much because they are so ripe. All right, so out of this whole tomato, I got only a few slices. And now I'm just going to lay them on a tray. Okay, one after another. I don't have anything else to put in this tray, so I'm just going to use them like that. Now, I can definitely cut them thinner if you prefer thinner, but I don't want them to crumble and completely fall apart. Again, I'm just cutting off the tops, cleaning up imperfections because we really don't need those. Okay, and about a centimeter. Again, I'm just going to slice them like that. It's a good thing my husband has a good sharpening block to sharpen all of my knives. Okay, and look at these beautiful slices. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at them. And I'm just going to put them all on a tray, one after another. It's important that they go in a single layer because freeze drying will not work if they piled up. Okay, they have to go in a single layer. So I'm just going to keep on cutting them. It's just, these tomatoes are so fantastic. I really need to find out if anyone knows by looking at these tomatoes, what is the name of this variety. Please share. It's important. I need to know. It's really, really good. And I'm going to save the seeds because they are fantastic. They grew so healthy. They grew so well. All right. So now I'm almost done with this tray. So let me just finish this tomato. I'm almost done with this tray and I need to season them a little bit. Okay. How much of seasoning? Listen, you don't have to overdo it. It really should be to taste. So I'm just going to use this, a blend of herbs, and I'm just going to sprinkle on top. That's all. Just like this. Going to sprinkle on top a little bit. Okay. So it gets onto each one of them. I'm not even going to do both sides. I'm just going to do one side. One side is enough. All right. And let me keep working on all of them. And it's going to go in a freeze dryer. All right. So, see, tomatoes are filled with minerals and vitamins and nutrients that are so important. And we should be eating them fresh. Heirloom varieties grown at home. So, so good. I'm just trimming bruised parts. So when you think about the minerals and vitamins that are filled with heirloom grown tomatoes, those are your vitamin C, vitamin B9, which is folate, vitamin A, which is beta carotene, vitamin K2, which is important for clotting factors. So, so good. As far as the minerals, it has a lot of potassium, so good for cardiovascular health, for blood pressure, right? Calcium for bone health, for teeth health, magnesium, phosphorus, so, so important. But also it has antioxidants. And so yellow tomatoes are a little bit different than a red tomato. Okay, so red tomatoes have a lot of nutrient. It's called lycopene, but yellow tomatoes have less of it because they're not red, they're yellow. However, yellow tomatoes have a whole lot more B3, which is niacin. Folate is B9. niacin, which is B3. It's so important for your neurovascular protection, for mental health, beta carotene, phenolic acid, which is a part of the quercetin. So it has a lot of nutrients that we need to keep in mind that is so, so good for our health. So it's not just delicious, it's also nutritious. And food should be our medicine. So this is why we should eat it fresh as much as we can. Okay? Take your kids to a farm, to a homestead, to a farmer's market. Buy non-chemically raised local produce. Enjoy it, but then also learn how to store it away for the winter months. Because guess what? The winter months, they're coming. And we're going to want something delicious and nutritious, not from the shelves of the store that came from who knows where, that has no flavor, no nutrients to them, simply because they made those seeds to withstand the transportation, okay? But not necessarily bring us any kind of nutrients. Okay, so I'm going to get this machine going. I'm going to press start. And it needs to start preparing the dryer for freezing. It takes about 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to finish cutting up all of my tomatoes. Okay, it's time to load them up. So in the freeze dryer, they go. One by one. I don't know how many hours it's going to take because tomatoes are quite juicy. They first have to go through the freezing process. And then the vacuum will turn on in this machine and to a certain degree of heat, and it's going to dehydrate them slowly. So it's going to take several hours, possibly 24, maybe even longer. I don't know. All right, so let me close the door, make it a good seal. Okay, and it says load the trays and close the drain valve. And that's exactly what I'm going to go and do right now. It's over here on the side. The drain is closed. And now I'm going to say continue. That's it. I'll see you guys next day sometime. The process is complete and they're super, super dry. It's important that the tray, when I'm removing it, it's not ice cold. It has to be warm to touch. All right, so they are super, super dry. And now I need to store them. So I can store them in bags that Harvest Right has. These are Mila bags with an oxygen absorber inside and seal the end so they will be stored. But you know what though? These are good for long-term storage, but I really like to store some also in the jar. All right, oxygen absorber goes on the bottom. And I'm going to start stacking all of these delicious dried tomatoes in there. I'm going to try to stack them if possible. It doesn't always work, but I'm going to try to stack them. And they're going to be a delicious snack. When I took them out of the freeze dryer, they literally smelled like garlic and herbs. So I'm going to put a bunch in here. And then I need to seal the jar to make sure that no oxygen gets in. Okay? That's pretty much it. To seal these jars, making sure that they're nicely sealed with an oxygen absorber, I'm going to be using my old trusty food saver with a little attachment. There's a little hose on the bottom. So what I need to do is, let me push this aside. So all I need to do is the lid stays on. I don't need the ring right now. I'm going to take this special attachment for a wide mouth. I'm going to put over, make sure it's nice and snug. I'm going to put this little attachment to the top. And I'm going to, where it says accessory, And guess what, my friends? It's done. So let me take this off. And this is completely sealed. For fun and giggles, I can put this ring on top, but I really don't have to. As it's funny, I was watching this jar as it was vacuuming out extra air. I saw my tomato slices fall to the bottom. All right, let's do the same thing to the other one. It's a lot of fun. This is a fun activity with kids. But that's how we're going to preserve our food to be enjoyed today, tomorrow, and even much later than tomorrow. All right, let's press accessory again, and it's going to start vacuuming and pulling out all the extra air from the jar. All right. There are manual pumps that do not require any electricity, but I don't have one of them. I just use regular like this. And guess what? We're still going to label them and put them away for storage. So here are our tomatoes. I still need to label them in a bag and in a jar. Look how pretty. And guess what? This is one of the beautiful way to put away food and then rehydrate them whenever you have to. And it's going to be delicious snack for later use. So friends, I hope you're encouraged to learn and get yourself one of these Harvest Right machines. If you're interested in the, I'm going to put a link in a description box where you can get it. Use the code there. And right now, actually in the month of August, they're running a special on it. So I hope you guys are encouraged and try something new.